Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well, and I wanted us to have a brief class so that we can be able to discuss some few areas. And I think for those we have met before, I'm Mr. Eric Ogega, and I will be taking you health and safety training. And in health and safety, as we had already started discussing, for those we have already started, and those that who have not been introduced to this unit, we are basically looking at the healthy and the safety of workers or people in an organization. Because once you are through with your training, especially those who are doing the courses like cosmetology, and you've gotten a job, you are lucky you get a job in a place. This course is important because it will enable you to ensure that you maintain health standards which are essential or which are necessary in that particular place of work. Now, today I want us to look at the introduction, and in our introduction to health and safety, it is important that we look at the terms that we use in this topic or this unit. And the first one is health. So, health, someone may ask you, what is health? Because you hear people talk about good health. So, what is health? Health can be defined as a state of complete physical, mental, social well being, and not merely the absence of a disease. So, meaning that when we talk about health, it should be something that is complete in terms of physical, mental, and social well being, and not just merely the absence of disease. But we can also define health as a state of well being. So, which means when somebody is already doing well or when somebody is okay, we say that person is healthy. What about safety? When we talk about safety, in this case, we mean a condition of being protected from danger or from risk or injury. So, if, for instance, you are working in an organization and you realize that you are not being protected from danger or risk in your place of work, or you are exposed to injuries, then that means that place is not safe. So, in other words, what we say is that safety refers to the condition of of being protected from danger, risky, and injuries. It is a state of being safe as you work, or when you are protected from harm, we say you are safe. The other term that maybe we'll meet along the way is a term that we call hazardous substances. So when something is hazardous, it needs to be handled with care and must be removed before it causes danger. So, in other words, when we are talking about hazardous substances, these are substances which have a potential risk of causing injury, damage, or they can be able to cause ill health. So health and safety of individuals, especially workers and clients, is usually put at risk in the presence of a hazard or hazardous substance. So that is why it's always important that if there is anything that is likely to cause danger in your place of work, you must ensure that you remove it. So those who are being trained to work in the salon, like maybe you are a nail technician, you are a cosmetologist, or you are somebody who is being trained in any area of beauty, and hairdressing. It is always important for you to ensure that whatever that is likely to cause danger is removed or is avoided in your salon or in your place of work. So when we talk about hazardous substances, it is always important that while you are in your salon or in your place of work, always do a quick survey to see if there is anything that is likely to cause danger. For instance, if, for example, you know that this chemical, if this chemical gets to your skin or to someone's skin, is likely to cause damage or injury, then that is hazardous. So therefore, putting it in a place where it can endanger a hazard. So therefore, it is always important that you can be able to see that. Now, there is also another one thing that you need to look at is what we call healthy and safety regulations. So it is always important for you to note that workers and people who come as your clients have a responsibility, have a right to be in a safe place. So meaning that if you are the owner of a salon or you are the owner of a nail spa or a massage parlor somewhere, you must ensure that that place is safe for your customers and your employees. Therefore, when we talk about health and safety regulations, we mean those regulations or those procedures which are put in place to ensure that they prevent accidents and injuries from taking place or from occurring in that public place or in that particular place of work. And therefore, what we mean here is that these safety regulations are usually put by the government through the Ministry of Labor, and you find that they have defined specific regulations that you need to ensure that your place of work must have so that it can be able to guarantee a healthy and a safe environment to work. And therefore, that is something that you need to check and see. And this is a requirement that all employers must be able to put in place so that they can be able to guarantee the safety of their customers and their employees. Now, what are the three different safety measures or three different types of safety? We have three types of safety. One is personal safety. Two is what we refer to as safety for others. And three are the safety measures that we need to see in the workplace. So, when we talk about personal safety, what does that mean? Personal safety means a type of safety where you, as an individual, ensure that you avoid the possible harmful situations in your surrounding or in your workplace. So meaning that personal safety is majorly concerned with ensuring you are safe and you avoid any possible harmful situations in your surrounding or in your office. So, for instance, if you are working in the salon and you realize, for example, that maybe there is spillage of a certain chemical on the floor, it is your own responsibility to ensure personal safety by wearing either gumboots or shoes so that chemical does not cause damage to your tissues. Similarly, if you know that maybe you are handling a potentially infectious skin, it is your responsibility to ensure that there is personal safety for you to ensure that you avoid touching maybe that skin with your bare hands so that you can be able to remain safe and avoid any possible harmful situation. Safety for others. The second type of safety is what we refer to as the safety for others. And this one is actually paramount because at some point you find that maybe someone can be careless with themselves, but you cannot afford to be careless with other people's safety. For instance, the people who come to your salon or your workplace need to feel secure. And therefore, that is why we have to ensure that the people, such as clients and your employees, are safe in your workplace. So, therefore, when you go out there and you get a job, always ensure that that particular place guarantees your safety. And that is what we refer to as the safety for others. And also, you also need to look at, even when you are using your tools of work, ensure that you don't use them in a manner that is likely to affect other people. And therefore, that is why in when we talk about the safety for others, it is something that is wide and it encompasses many measures that we put in place to ensure that your work does not pose any danger to any other person who is working or who has come for your service. Now, what are some of the safety measures in the workplace that you need to have? Always ensure that you create a safe and a conducive place of work by following safety guidelines. So you need to follow safety guidelines so that you ensure that that place of work is safe. Now, how to make the workplace safe? How do we make our workplace safe? So you can be able to write that one down if you are you have your notebook, so that you can be able to see. Yeah, write some few notes on that, so that you can be able to see how well you can keep your workplace safe. Because this one is something that we all understand. Number one, ensure that you are sober while at work, meaning that don't use any substance that is likely to influence your way of work all the way you operate. So meaning that if you take, for instance, alcohol or another hard drugs, they are likely to alter your normal functioning of the body, and therefore you are likely to be to have that danger at your place of work. Two, always wear protective equipment suited to the task that you are doing. Meaning that if, for instance, you are having a client, for example, and you are putting a chemical, always ensure that you have your gloves on. Why? So that you avoid, if that particular chemical has what we call maybe a corrosive effect, so that it does not affect your hands. Maintain a secure footing and balance all the time, because it's always important so that you don't fall in your salon or in your workshop. So always ensure that you maintain a secure footing, meaning your shoes should be good enough to work in even slippery floor. Always wear appropriate personal protective clothing, such as the aprons, the overalls, and also other things like gumboots and all that. This will help you avoid any contamination or uh, any chemical reaching your skin. Next is to keep machines and other equipment clean and sterile. There are some people who go on contaminating every machine they touch. So always ensure that you, after you finish your work, ensure that your machine is put in a safe, clean place, and always ensure that at your equipment likely to contaminate your skin. Also, turn and switch off power immediately you finish using your electric machines. So once you finish using your electric machines, put them off, and not only put off, but their cable is removed from the power supply. because it's always important to ensure that, so that you avoid any accident related to electric shocks. And lastly, take regular breaks to avoid fatigue. There are people who work for 24 hours, and in this process, you find that you become so fatigued to the point that you can easily fall, or you can easily put something somewhere and you forget. These are the people, for example, you find they put, let's say, hair machine on, like, assuming it's maybe you're dealing with a blow dry, and you have put it on and you have not even remembered to switch it off. So always ensure that you take regular breaks, so that you can be able to do what, to avoid that fatigue. Now, what are some of the protective equipment that we use for failures prevention? Number one, we wear gloves to prevent our hands against what? Number one, cuts from sharp objects. So gloves are very important if you are dealing with sharp objects. Uh, Sharp objects can sometimes get to your skin direct. So if you use the gloves, there are chances that you will minimize the cuts from those sharp objects. Number two, we have what we call burns from hot surfaces and extreme temperatures. So if there are any extreme temperatures or hot surfaces that we do in the salon or in our workplace, always ensure that you uh, wear your gloves, so that you can prevent your skin from burns. Number three, skin irritation and dermatitis. Yeah, skin irritation comes as a result of contact with those chemicals which cause irritation. Yeah, we call them. If a certain chemical causes skin irritation, if you don't wear gloves, it is likely to touch your skin and it will cause that irritation. And therefore, when you use the gloves, you prevent that particular chemical from reaching your skin. And at the end of the day, what? To prevent or protect you from acquiring dermatitis, which is a fungal infection, or that irritation, which is an allergic reaction. Number four is contact with grease, toxic or corrosive substances. Yeah, we wear gloves to ensure that we prevent ourselves from that contact with grease, toxic or corrosive substances. And lastly, it prevents us from abrasions from rough surfaces. If you have those rough surfaces, always use gloves, so that you can be able to prevent any kind of corrosive substance from rough substance from causing any abrasion on your skin. Next is why do we put shoes to prevent what? We put shoes to prevent against number one, sharp objects that may cause breaking. Two, falling objects. If, for example, an object is falling, yeah, from maybe you put a shelf somewhere up, and you've placed some things there, and if one of the items fall and it has a sharp edge, it is likely to cut your leg or your toes if you do not have your shoes on. So having your shoes on helps you to prevent against falling objects, leaking oils and grease on the floor, because once the oils or grease leak to the floor, in most cases, you can only be affected by these if you are not on your in your shoes. Helps to prevent slips and falls. Yeah, shoes which are made with good friction patterns. Usually, they are very nice in preventing slips. You cannot actually slip and fall. Next is that it helps in posture and prevents muscle strain. So once you wear your shoes, even you are able to stand upright and you are able to avoid the muscle strain because of the way maybe you walk, the way you stand, or the way you pose. Next is on the protection against the elements such as water, frostbite, yeah, those places where there is frostbite, yeah, those frozen water particles. So you need to put your shoes on so that you can prevent your leg or your feet against such. Then lastly, it also helps to protect against electric shocks, meaning that if there is an electric shock and your shoes are on, then it means even if you step on it, it may not affect you as the person who is barefoot. So that is why it's always important to ensure that that happens. So thank you guys for listening to us. And that is our lesson one. And now in lesson two, we're going to look at more on how we protect ourselves and make our environment safe in our workplace. So for today, I'm your presenter, Eric Nyanumba. So in case of any question, feel free to ask. And it's also important that you can also go through the slides that I'll be able to attach later. But for now, I want you to go through as the lecture proceeds, make your notes so that we can be able to uh, see, that is by the end of this lesson, how you will be able to make that particular environment or that particular workplace where you are, how you can be able to make it safe. So thank you so much, and I wish you a good evening.